What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Played Out Podcast, a competitive-focused Age of Sigmar podcast. My name is Kyle, aka Creator Gator, and I'm here with my greatly bearded host, as always, James. James, how are you doing?
Good. This is, in fact, fuzzy season. I've been told by my wife multiple times that this is far too long, but we just passed St. Patty's Day, and I needed my beard for St. Patty's Day.
That's true. Thematic.
Don't infringe upon my beard rights.
Gotta lean into that Irish half while you can.
100%. Well, I don't think this beard makes me more Irish. If anything, it gets me pulled out of line at airports. I only make that joke because it happens at least twice a year.
You gotta stay out of the sun like a little bit longer.
I do.
You see this complexion that I got going on?
Mm-hmm,
easy.
Yeah, that's true.
Cops love me.
It do be like that. Cops. Oh my god. That's so good.
But anyway, so we went to a tournament recently. We drove from the Northeast down to Cherokee, North Carolina to go to the Cherokee Open hosted by Frontline Gaming. It was about an 11-hour drive. We drove on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Played on Friday, played on Saturday, and then drove back like 11 hours on Sunday, starting at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah. We were like, what if we left super early so we're home by like 3 p.m. and then It was like easy.
To be best. Like we traded off, and I drove the first half, which was fine because I was all hyped up on Mountain Dew and shit, and then you drove the last half when it was like sunny and warm, and I just wanted to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's good because I was dying for sleep in the first half. So
you were out. I was impressed with how long you slept when we were like zooming through those mountains.
I was a sleepy boy.
True. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the name of the hotel? Like,
Harrah's.
Harrah's
Resort.
Right. It's the same one at ACO.
Yeah.
My thoughts on Harrah's stay the same. I don't think it's great. I think like it's cool.
Yeah, it was
definitely
fine.
Cool. I like that hotel more than I like the one in ACO.
Getting bounced to the other tower was kind of annoying.
I know. That was I didn't like that at all.
We
showed up, we checked in, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't have a room for you in this tower. We have one in the other tower though." Or like, no, they were first like, "We don't have a room with 2 queens in this tower. We have a king in this tower." And I look at James, I'm like,
listen,
you're like, absolutely not.
No. My what I said exactly was, we're close friends. We're not that close.
Oh, shame. Yeah, but they moved us to the other tower, which is like completely fine. Because we kind of got the Starbucks on that side to ourselves.
Oh yeah,
which was nice.
It was nice to have a quiet morning. I will be honest. Like I complained about it, but it was honestly I preferred it. It wasn't that far, and we drove. Again, it's Cherokee, North Carolina. There's no traffic. There's nothing else there. So we literally walked down to the car. Our armies were already packed. Our carts were already packed. We just drove around to the side that mattered, parked, walked in, and it was actually way easier.
Yeah. The nice thing is they have free parking here. Where I know at ACO they don't, which is like really cringe because if you're going for just like a day, if you live in the area like we do, like you pay like $20 in parking like for the day, and
each day.
Yeah, that sucks. That feels bad. It feels bad. I don't like that. If you're staying there, it's free.
That's why you have to gamble, Kyle. See, if you get like a gambler card,
it's true.
Get some of that,
You did in fact gamble. I did not go to the thing, but you in fact went to.
I did. I'm on puppy time. Me and my wife recently purchased a dog, and I love her. She's fantastic. But one of the things about being a recently dog puppy owner is I wake up at 6 a.m. at the latest, like most mornings. Mm-hmm. So when we were I think our first round wasn't until 11 the first day. Yeah. So I was up at I woke up at 6, and then I tried to fall asleep again till 7, and then I was like, well, that's not happening. So I just got ready and started walking around the hotel. And, found some cheap blackjack tables, made $75, called it a day,
Easy. Already starting winning.
Already starting up, you know what I mean? Pay for that ticket early.
Yeah. The good on you for playing blackjack, because then you're not using any luck that you would need for dice.
Yeah,
you're not playing a dice
No
game.
Dice-related games, yeah, 100%.
No dice-related games. None of those got going on. Speaking of, we played 4. No, we played 5.
We played 4.
4.
Yeah, 4 games.
That's right,
because the 5th game got canceled. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, there's only going to be 2 on Friday, and they were planned to be
three on Saturday,
Saturday.
depending on attendance for
Uh-huh.
because we were both in AOS, obviously. So it's like basically if they hit, I don't know what the algorithm is. It's one of those things I'd still like to see, but essentially like the algorithm determines that
Yep.
if you have over 100 players, you need 5 games to determine your top 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things. Like I think they had 69 people by the end. Nice.
Yes, nice. Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we can just do it in 4, and then there was I think 2 rounds Friday because we all broke out into pools. But again, we as we reiterated, neither of us neither of us made top tables, so we zoomed out of there just because it was kind of a hike for us.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't hate that for us. Like if you got close, I was like, hell yeah, I'll be your cheerleader all day. But like that drive
is
on
gonna
Sunday
suck. Oh yeah,
that was gonna be oof. But yeah, so we only played 4. Yeah, I don't know the math behind it, but like it makes sense because like looking at the top, it was like after the top 8 played their final 2, they had 1 undefeated person, and then the other 2 had like
1 loss. Yeah.
So it all worked out. We'll talk about like the final 3 eventually, but first we'll talk about our list that we brought. I'll pop it up on the screen. James, you want to walk us through your list that you had?
Yeah. So I will. So I basically have been like, this is my 5th revision of my like spider troll list that I've been running, and now it's just like it's slowly just turned into Git soup. So obviously taking the Loon Shrine, and it's a double battle regiment list, so it's a 2-drop. In the first regiment, I have my Dankhold Troll Boss, who's the general of the army. He has the Glowy Howset, which gives him a 4-up ward unless he eats it, which is just a crazy relic that like is almost an auto include and gets armies. He's got the not mount trait. He's got the leader, the command trait, Alpha Trog. So it makes him a monster. It gives him 2 more wounds. So it gives me access to like monstrous actions and things like that. And also like with his healing, it's really helpful to have those 2 extra wounds because I have a bigger pool to bring back.
Yeah, I've tried to kill him before and it sucks.
Oh yeah, it's tough. He doesn't kill anything. Like he could kill stuff. He usually does not.
Yeah, he's like a medium hammer, and then he gives that all-out attack to the Trog unit, and it hurts.
Yeah, he's like a buff piece. He's a tank buff piece. So the my regiment or my sub faction was King's Gits, so I can basically recur better out of the Loon Shrine.
Yep.
My other leader spot in my first battle reg was Scragrot, the Loon King, because controlling the moon is awesome. His War Scroll spell is insane, and like having access to the entire lore of the Gits is nice because I can be like, I can give run-in charge or like reroll charges on my squigs, or I can like, teleport really something. Yeah.
Hand of
Gork, exactly. Fight lasts, awesome. The only other leader I had was my Web Spinner Shaman. He was the leader in my 2nd battalion. I more or less broke those out just in case I needed to, like, I wanted to get like a cheeky magical dominance. So I could like put him out of range. Battle line. I have 4 battle line slots because I have 2 battalions. I have 2 squads of Rock Guts reinforced. So it's 6 Rock Guts each. That is the anvil and kind of the hammer of the list. They definitely more of the anvil, but they pack a punch. They are, if you're not familiar with Rock Guts, they're, a 3-up save in the light of the bad moon. They heal D3 every turn, and they have a 5-up ward innately, and they have 4 wounds each. So it's like, it's a 24 wound unit with a 5-up ward, and it heals. And also I can, I could get them back from the Loon Shrine. I can, rally them on 6s. There's a lot of ways. They're a very, very tanky unit, and they're very good at holding points to the midboard. So they're a favorite of mine, and at least favorite of Kyle's. I have an obligatory 2 Arachnarok Warfang party, or Arachnarok Spider Fang War parties. It's like, that's a mouthful and a half. But I love these. These are like my favorite models in the whole game. I have one right here. The Arachnaroks, my favorite models in the entire game. It's the reason I got into the hobby, and I will always. I want to take 2 because I am convinced that they are like not underpointed, but like they're especially at 200 points. Like they have value. They have a ton of value.
They do a really like the job is not damage. The job is holding points. The job
Holding
is very
points.
much yeah.
And
I'm gonna
and they're hard to move. You know what I
yeah
mean? Like it's like if they don't get hit with a real hammer turn one, like if I walk them onto a point on turn four, like it's really hard to move them, you
yeah.
know?
The big thing is like it's sometimes extremely difficult to get to them because you have trogs in the way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They're very
Like
much like being like cushioned by the rest of my
yeah
list. And I want them to break out like turn 4 and 5, you know?
yeah. And as dumb as it sounds, like they're a big base, which means that they take up like the area that you could potentially deep strike into. You know what I mean? From like
Small.
wherever
Yeah.
it's so small in that back line.
Yeah. I also threw in one squad of spider riders. It's a nice, like, easy chaff unit. I don't really care about it if I send it out in the beginning of the game just to tag a point in the center, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me some utility. They also have shooting. I have 2 squads of 5 Boingrot Bounders who just that's my most recent kind of discovery in Gits is they just have crazy output for
Yeah.
the point value that they're at. They're 160 points, and I think like they max out at like if they obviously this isn't like averages in like
Yeah.
perfect scenarios, but I think they get like 40 plus wounds out of a 160 point unit.
That
Like
comes back.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they recur. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Like they're literally missiles. Like they die, which is fine. But they die, or if they survive their attack, they can like kill whatever they killed. They can rally the next turn if they're in light of the bad moon. They rally on 4s, which is nuts. You know,
Love it.
yeah, they're just good. Like it's just good.
Yeah.
So that's the whole list, though. It came to exactly 2,000 points after the War Scroll update. I was like 1995, but so I'm not getting any triumphs, even though I'd like to with Trogs. But it served me well. Do we want to say what we went, or do we want to go through the scores first and then talk about it later? So I went 2-2. But like both of my losses were pretty close. Like I think my first loss I was like 4 points down, and then my second loss I was like it was more like 7, but I kind of did we'll talk about it, but I pulled a gambit to try to win the game instead of like score the most at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what position you placed?
It's like 42nd, I think.
Yeah,
I can look that up while you're going through your list.
Yeah. Any final notes on that?
Mm-mm. It's honestly like I've tried to remake the list a couple times because
Comes back.
And it's but I honestly like I think I like the way that this list plays because it gives me a lot of flexibility and a lot of pieces that do different jobs.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a brain dead list, but I think it plays well.
Yeah. Just Scrag it alone, like he gives you a bunch of options, which is amazing. That's what you want, but it also means you have to think about all of those options.
Yeah, all the time.
You can use them as damage. You reposition. You can like,
dude. I'm telling you, a lot of my games I was not able to cast because it was like they have Nagash or Gobsprak across the board. Yeah,
crazy. We're on like the 3rd season of hey, the theme is X. Well, actually, the theme is
anti-X. Yeah, it's literally
counter-X. Yeah, so that it is what it is. But yeah, so surprised to know when I went Stormcast Eternals, I was Signs of the Storm, some Falling from the Sky, Hammers of Sigmar because the 6-up board is nice. Grand Start was Spellcasting Savant, and my general was the Knight Zephyros with Master Magic and Arcane Tome, so that she qualifies as the general. She teleports all around the board and keeps her safe. My holy commands were Thunderbolt Volley and Call for Aid. The other 2 heroes that I had was Knight Incantor, who had Merciless Blizzard and the Auto Unbind, which is super nice. I had the Knight Judicator with Gryph-hounds, mostly just to get a little more range damage out of the list and to have the Gryph-hounds that could move very fast. As well as they have a cheeky rule, and I told every opponent about this, where like if a unit comes in from reserves within 12 inches of my dog, I can pick up to 3 units that are wholly within my dogs to shoot the thing that just showed up. It happened once.
Inside of dog.
Yeah, I did tell my opponent, I was like, he came in within 9. I was like, are you sure you want to do that? Because I'm going to shoot you. And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. If you move out 12, you don't get shot. He's like, no, I want the charge. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Long strikes go burr. For Battle Line, I had 2 units of Vindictors and Liberator. rounding up the hammers, I had a Storm Drake Guard with the swords, Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbow, another unit of Storm Drake Guard with swords, and another what's it called? Another Vanguard Raptor with long strikes. And then just to kind of bring it in, I had one unit of Aether Wings.
Gotta love those burbs.
Yeah, the birds just help the land. The long strikes hit harder. They mostly just score battle tactics. There's a lot of movement battle tactics and dropping things. They're a great thing to drop down turn one and just secure the battlefild, like our Stormcast pity points.
If and you got to, like, as Stormcast, you literally have to do that.
Yep. But yeah, the Storm Drakes, they count as 10 if I have both models like on objective, which is kind of nice. But I'm hopefully my goal is basically just to screen you out my Vindictors when they die, bring them back, and then keep like my damage is 5 rounds of long strike shooting.
It's more sustained. It's not bursty.
It's not bursty. Yeah, I don't have fulminators in here. I don't have anything that's gonna like hit you in the face. You know what I mean? But I have like
dragons are a good counterpunch, but like it's definitely more like you're in a long lasting game instead of like a alpha strike.
Yeah, they did their job. I think they did their job for the most part. They're just like I don't forget what their average is. I think their average is like around 7 to 10 damage.
Yeah.
And that's not a hammer. You're paying a lot for that 12-inch move and fly, and then to have like an 18 wound unit. I was in a Warlord battalion that got me the extra Thunderbolt volley, so I can shoot in the hero phase with the long strikes, which was nice. And then a Redemption Brotherhood to be 1-drop and a Redemption Brotherhood to be 1-drop. So I was 7 drops.
Yeah.
So I wasn't playing the drop game. I typically wanted to go first because I wanted to get that secure the battlefield like immediately. I also wanted to shoot.
Yeah, like it's your all of like you want to get your buffs off and you want to be shooting as soon as you possibly can.
And I want to dump that like hero ability because like sometimes they just die. You know what I mean? 100%. If like an endless spell just ends up, if a Scuttle Tide ends up and they just get eaten, guess what? You didn't get to do it.
Who does that?
You know what I mean?
No one's ever done that.
No one's ever done that to me. You know, I'm just prepping for it. But yeah, that's basically the list. It's keep the Knight and Cantor within dispelling range for that one spell that might get them points enough to win the game.
Yeah.
And then Blizzard something as much as I can. Keep the Knight Zephyros safe, and then shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot while running backwards.
100%. You're literally just kiting. Like you're playing Lucian.
Yep. I'm literally playing like an 80 carry from League of Legends.
Yeah. I also took Blizzard, but I never got it off. I tried multiple times, never happened.
I got it off. I'll talk about it in the first game recap, but I got it off. I actually got it off, I think, 3 times, which was kind of crazy.
Look at this Blizzy Wizzy man over here.
Wizzy. I know.
I thought I was the caster of the two of us.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could have done better, and we'll talk about that later. But I think it performed well, and I liked how it played. I definitely got better as the tournament went along. I've gotten some reps under my belt with this specific list, but like I think I just got better overall of understanding, like not necessarily threat ranges, but screening.
Yeah,
like where to put my shit so that I don't get blown up immediately. But yeah, I ended up going 1, 2, and 1. I got 1 tie because we ended up tying, and we kind of agreed to tie. Because it was going to be like close either way. So we just said, you know what, screw it. Let's not talk out 2 turns that we can't do. So let's just tie. It was also like the 3rd round of the second day, and both of us had lost.
Yeah.
So we didn't care.
You guys were also like waiting on another round. Like it was like you guys were like, or you guys were like eating into like the like lunch hour, and like we were prepping for the next round. Like you didn't have a lot of time between, you know.
Yeah, but. Oh yeah, it was the first
second day. Yeah,
it was the first game of the second day. That's right.
I just remember because I was sitting there and just hanging with you guys.
Yeah, you were like, "Hey, the Giants did giant things."
And our game was over quickly.
Yeah, so you probably got I think 42nd because I got 44th.
Yeah, you got 44th. I got 40th.
40th. Nice. And
Yeah.
like you said, 69 people, so like mid-low pack.
Yeah, mid-low. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like again, it's our first big tournament, or like at least my first bigger tournament. You know,
it's your first big tournament, and it's like my second, and the only one I've ever done besides this was
a long
ACO.
time ago. Yeah,
was like 2 years ago, and I think I lost every game except for the last.
Yeah,
which honestly is kind of similar to this one. I'm just not smart, James. I'm just not smart.
You are smart, Kyle. You beat me, and I don't think I'm not saying I'm smart.
Yeah. Classic 16 and or 1-16. Got one under my belt.
Got
Sometimes
one.
it happens. Yeah. So walk me through your first game. What faction and how'd it go?
I was playing. So we did a lot of so post like right before the tournament, the battle scroll came out, right? So we looked at the battle scroll in depth. We talked about it a little bit last time on the podcast, but the one of the big things we were looking at was Night Haunt because the Blade Geist's got 2-inch range, right?
Yep.
So that was a big buff, right? And we were like, there's the Blade Geist sub faction. Scarlet Doom, right, where you get mortals on the charge. And so my first, I was very happy to look at those rules because my first game was against a Scarlet Doom Night Haunt list.
Yeah.
So
as a side note, before you get in there, we had like 11 hours to drive down, and on the drive there, we were like super excited. So we basically spent the entire time of like looking at all the submitted lists, looking up the rules, trying to understand the general vibe of sort of like what every list wants to do, which was pretty cool because it definitely taught us a lot more about the game than we knew going in.
Yeah, because like we have a lot of reps, but like I feel like at least for me, like most of my reps are against Kyle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I played like I played in tournaments, I played in a lot of different things, and but you don't like. I think it's in the Mike Tyson quote. It's like you don't know anything until you get punched in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. But it's like unless you get hit by it or you've played the army before, like there is no like you don't really know how it plays. Like you know what they're trying to do, but you don't know how effective like the army is at it. You know?
Yep.
So you don't know how impactful certain rules are. So I was playing Night Haunt. And my first opponent, her name was Michelle. She was great. But it was essentially a Nagash list with like 3 units of Blade Geists and a couple of the Death Horses. And the game went well. We ended 22-13. So I won. I took the victory. But that's just because I was able to get to Nagash. The Nagash is a very imposing piece, but there's not a lot of damage output. There's a lot of like debuffing and like, you know, buff. It's basically a massive buff and debuff piece. And then there's the one spell where you can like point at a model and say like, is it gone forever? Like the Hand of Dust spell. Crazy. Yeah. Never played against that before, but it's terrifying. She almost got rid of Scragrot. And I was like, please no.
No.
my sweet boy. So it was definitely it was like a scary game until I was able to get to her side of the board because she played very like cagey, and I don't play like my list doesn't play well on their side of the board. It plays well in the middle, you know what I mean, or on my side because I have the Loon Shrine, I have Scragrot, like that's where I'm getting like Moon Auras and stuff. So, but I was able to again like Blade Geists are like not incredibly tanky if you have a lot of attacks, and I was able to just like with all of my rock guts and like certain things like that, like I was able to get enough attacks through where I really just like I chunked them, you know, like, and I didn't have like, cause something big on Blade Geist is I can't like, if I'm within melee range of Night Haunt, I can't make saves at the end of the turn, or I can't make leadership. I can't do it like insane bravery.
You're
so
stupid.
Yeah, I'm scared. So, which is massive for me because I need to be doing that to keep my trogs around. But the big thing that helped me was my squigs do so much like little chip damage, and their saves are always on 4s that it was just like I would send the squigs in, they would lift up like 6 of the 10 of them, and then there would be 4 going into my trogs, and they would do like not a ton of damage because it's like rend 1 attacks, so like ultimately I kind of just like collapsed on her, like her army, and they just folded, not immediately, but throughout the game. So
Yeah.
overall, really good game. Really had a good time, and hope she's doing well. But you go ahead,
Hmm.
Kyle. How was your first game?
My first game, I got Nurgle flied.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That dude
and
was
I'm
good.
he was also very good. We started on table 12, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why I was there. Um, but yeah, he basically just all Nurgle flies. Super great opponent. Very smart. Um, but basically, like I kind of set up assuming that he would give me first turn, which is dumb. I should have known that Nurgle flies wants to get first turn and then pin you in, and then make you like make bad choices. You know what I mean? Like or like give you no choices to make. So I set up assuming that he would give me first turn, and he took first turn and then put a bazillion flies in my face. He also made a dirty 12-inch charge to get over my screen and then touch my backline of shooter boys, my long strikes. So basically, my long strikes they never some of them didn't die because I think he was killing other things, but like they just shot like the general with a 4-up ward and like big save and lots of wounds for I think like 2 turns and didn't do any damage. Um, I think the most memorable moment of the game was he charged my backline, basically sending it in like a missile and just assuming it's going to take like a lot of time for me to kill it, but like it took way more, way longer time to kill it than I thought. I cast Blizzard at it and I got it off, and I was like, all right, here's 46 mortal wounds. That's definitely going to clean that up. It ended up being 12 damage, and he rolled 10 out of the 10 out of the 12 4-up wards.
That's
And
fun.
I was
That's
like,
incredible. Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
even crazier, I rolled some ones. So guess what? My lady took 5 damage. She has 5 health, and then she died. And
Damn.
like I was just having a good time at this point. Like after the end of his turn 1, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a fight, and then like this is gonna be a hole I have to dig myself out of. So I started digging, and it didn't really go anywhere. I also like he was very scared of where my dragons were gonna land because they were still in the sky, and he was worried because he had Bellicor, and he was worried that I was going to drop them on Bellicor and eat Bellicor. And I proceeded to show him why that's not actually a threat because I put them behind. I charged him at a dude, um,
Like a single
at
fly.
a single fly. I charged him at a single fly in the back line to try to like clean up his back objective. They bounced off that. They also tried to destroy his faction train. They didn't do that, and then they got charged by Bellicor like in the following turns and died. And it was very much like, yeah, everything like I had just kind of bounced off, including my like shots because I could only shoot something with a 4-up board for a long time. And my dragons landed, killed some flies, and then like proceeded to die. So it was very much like that was the lowest scoring game that I played. I think according to I got 4. Like I don't know how that scoring works for their thing because it shows like 4 points. I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's just the battle points. It's
Yeah,
an aggregate. It's not an aggregate, but there's like a formula. Like I
yeah.
just
It's like the minor or like major loss
hmm
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely got a major loss. Got pretty much tabled by turn 4. But it was a fun game. You know what I mean? And like it would have been maybe a game if I would have like set up properly. But like he's a really good player. Like other people knew him. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's fine. Listen,
When people
I'm
talked
good.
about him, I was like, yeah, he's terrifying.
Yeah. He's a good player and he's playing like he's bringing his kind of like brain dead list. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
he's got
like
so many reps on it that it's like,
yeah. Yeah, I think if we played 10 games, I think he beats me 9 out of 10. I maybe
yeah,
eke 1 off him. So I was very content with that loss because it was just a fun game and he's a fun person to play against. So
yeah. Overall, I had a great time, even in my losses. Like
oh yeah,
everyone was super chill.
yeah. But what about your turn or round 2?
That was
Round 2 on Friday.
that was the one that got me. What's it called? That was the one that fired me up, dude. I lost, but it
That was
was
your swamp
yeah.
donkey.
That was the Swamp Donkey game. So I played a guy named Matt. He's great. He's amazing. He played Cruel Boys Grinning Blades, and I'm familiar with Cruel Boys Grinning Blades. I know their rules well. I just didn't like. I didn't like, and I talked to Kyle's heard this a million times because like I've complained about this to no end. I didn't win a single prio that game, and if I won a single prio, that's like
Would
I
have been
can
very
kill. Well, it
different.
would have been different because I can charge his what's it called? I can send multiple units into his bows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like like for 2 or 3 turns in the middle of the game, I'm like literally at the edge of charging, like anticipating in the double because I went second.
Yeah.
And there's just not like I don't have anything, I'm just like standing there and waiting to get shot.
Yeah.
But like Matt was a great opponent. He was a really fun guy. He was very good at the game. Again, it was really like a buzzer beater of a game.
Yeah.
It went to 21-26. I almost stopped his grand strat, which would have made it 21-23. And I think a couple roles go a little different. That it really was anybody's game. We both played very well. I only didn't get my last battle tactic. He got all of his, but I jumped over him in primary early. Grin and Blades is Grin and Blades, dude. Like you're just gonna get shot. He also had Gobsprak, so I'm not casting really. Yep. I killed Gobsprak like turn 2 though. I was able to get the bird. But it was a good fighty game. We also did the mission where you like have stuff in deep strike. I think it's something bring the trap is the mission.
Okay.
Where you're able to like basically pick your units in your zone to deep strike. And I had 2 of my Ragnaroks just in deep strike all game. And they came in at the very end and snagged a couple objectives, got me some points. They cleared a bunch of his screens that were holding objectives. So he really only had his monster, his leader, what's the little guy on like a dog, in Cruel Boys? What's the guy?
Killbosh on Nash'Tooth.
Yeah, Nash'Tooth. Yeah. So basically like the only thing he had left at the end of the game was like one squad of bows, and the Swamp Donkey, which was the Snatcher boss, and he just kept calling him Swamp Donkey, which is like that's
like a very heavy Southern. We actually
very heavy Georgia accent.
Yeah, we saw him later on, like in the food hall
at dinner,
in the hotel, and he was like talking more about all of his games and stuff like that. And I was just like, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's so funny, dude. Matt was so funny.
I just want to be around while he like talks about games because like his accent plus like his enthusiasm just makes it so interesting.
Agreed. Yeah, it was a good game. It was like at the end of the game, we were both like, dude, I was like, because that's like you want to play close games. Close games are fun. 100%. How was your second game?
My second game, I think potentially was my favorite. It was against a guy named Patrick German, who he TOs some events down south. I'm forgetting the southern state. I want to say Virginia. I'm not sure, but I know he TOs. My second game against a guy, Patrick German, he was running Blades of Corn, which like it looked pretty standard. You had like 20 bloodletters. You had Scarbrand. You had another Bloodthirster. You had this unit of cavalry. I forget what they're called, but like they had like
Skull Bashers or something.
Yeah, a 3-man unit of like cavalry that I shot once and then decided never going to shoot again.
Yeah, they have a 2-up save, like an 8.
They have a 2-up save.
It's crazy.
Yeah, nutty. But yeah, the game was like very close. I lost. It was he kind of pulled off like. I think it was like very, very doable. You know what I mean? Like, but it was one of those things where he busted all of his blood points to make it happen. So it was like kind of like an epic moment to like chase down my general. Yeah, because I forget what his grand strat was, but I denied
Blood Crushers.
Huh?
Blood Crushers.
Yeah, Blood Crushers.
Yeah.
I denied his grand strat, so the game came down to can he deny mine? You know what I mean? And he made some dirty charges. He made some great like advances. There was with like the final Bloodthirster to like catch up to my lady and grab her. Excuse me. But yeah, the game was really good. I kind of bumbled my dragons. I sent them off into the side to get a battle tactic when I probably should have saved them and like thought a little bit more ahead to get that battle tactic with something else. My bows got to shoot the entire game, which was awesome. So like they picked up the blood letters. They killed They killed a bunch of other stuff. They killed like his kind of like Warcry chaff unit. Uh, I believe I'm pretty sure I killed Skybrand with Blizzard. I killed
Nice.
something. I killed like a
Love it.
big piece with Blizzard, which was awesome. The the Blood Crushers died to blow ups.
That's amazing.
Just because like I don't think they had a ward.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, you're 2 up save. Like I'm gonna like a little mortal wound here from Vindictors blowing up, little couple mortal wounds here from these guys blowing up. You know what I mean?
Eventually they die.
Eventually they just died. Yeah. Also like the oh no, it wasn't the Blizzard that killed the thing. That was the game where my dragons popped off and dealt like 12 mortal wounds.
Oh my goodness. With
Just
you were telling me
with the
about this, the
breath.
shooting. Yeah.
Crazy. It was insane. I was like, okay, so roll. Oh, look, a 5 and a 6. Oh, roll. It's double
Boxcars.
sixes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's that? It's like, it means that I deal 12 mortal wounds. He's like, oh, yeah. So that was kind of crazy.
Mhm.
I think I did that in Unleash Heck too. So it's just like, oh,
Yeah, you're just doing a ton of mortal wounds to the guy that doesn't have any wards, you know?
yep. Yeah, so that was crazy. There was just like a bunch of stuff. There was a bunch of stuff like that where it was like crazy stuff happening on both ends. You know what I mean? It had definitely definitely a great game, definitely a close game. Came down to the wire. Great player, great person to play against. If you ever see him around hosting, go to one of his events because I'm sure they're a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got to sleep. Then we went to the Gordon Ramsay place.
We did.
That place was awesome.
They had all the kinds of food, which was
The hotel was massive. Like,
yeah.
Massive. Yeah.
It was really big. And I didn't even go through like half of it because I typically just stayed in like, I went to bed.
I
then,
wandered.
Slept in.
Yeah, I wandered a lot. And it was like, I think there was like 3 different towers, but they were all connected to like this massive casino.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold on. I got to pull up Tabletop Tactics again for my third game.
I forget. Actually, I should do that. I was wondering where you were getting the scores from.
Yeah, I'm literally just like looking at my Tabletop Tactics. It's a great app. They don't sponsor us, but please use it. All right, yeah.
Tabletop Battles.
Tabletop Battles. Yeah, sorry. Tabletop Battles.
You're good.
That's why they don't sponsor us. 'Cause I don't even know what they're called. But so my third game. Morning, I played Sons of Behemat. How do you say that? Behemat?
Behemat.
Yeah. Sons of Behemat. I've never played Sons of Behemat. And it's one of those things that I've wanted to for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never killed a Gargant before. I almost tabled this guy. I basically misplayed my early turns because we played the Meltwater mission. So it was like, it's one of those things that like the Gargants, I don't have enough bodies to take a point back from Gargants, right? Yeah. So there was like 1 or 2 turns where it's just like they're on like if there's like a triangle that is quote unquote my zone, they're on 2 of my 3 objectives. So it's like I can only get 1 point for primary because it's like they count as 40 on objectives. Yeah. And I just like, so basically like I was like, okay, I'm going to lose the early turns, but because of the Meltwater thing, I'm going to be able to come back. This is the game that I kind of ran the gambit, right? So he ended up getting 22 points. I got 16. The other reason I got 16 was because in the very last turn, I chose to try to stop his grand strat instead of protecting mine. Mm-hmm. I very easily could have protected mine. But I was like, I'm going to like risk it to see like, you know, what goes on. It obviously didn't work out in my favor. But you know, a game like that game would have ended up being 19-22 instead of 16-22. So he was a great guy. Guy's name is Noah. Super, super chill, really great guy. He ran 2 Mega Gargants. One was broad, one was not. No, 3 Mega Gargants. He ran 3 Mega Gargants. He ran Kragnos. It was 2 Mega Gargants because there's no way you can fit 3 Mega Gargants, Kragnos, and then 2 Man Crushers, right? That's way too many points. Yeah. So he ran 2 Mega Gargants, Kragnos, 2 Man Crushers, and one of them was broad. So he got in my zone quickly because broad, you know, you reroll charges, and Kragnos I was able to pin and basically kill him over time. And I didn't have him go into any monsters because of all his crazy buffs for monsters. I killed the man crushers, were like easy to kill. But the big guys were like, I basically had to focus Broad 2 turns in a row to kill Broad, and then I had to focus Kragnos 2 turns in a row to kill Kragnos. And I ended up like his last man crusher was on like 4 wounds at the very end of the game, and I ended up killing him too. But so he only had 1 unit left, you know, and it was a man crusher on the far side of the board. But it was a good game. And I think like if I had played Gargants before, I probably would have done better just because I would have understood like what's important, like what I need to watch out for. And like I would have been more cagey because I deployed very wide, basically anticipating that he was going to charge something. And I want to be able to like not
catch
just,
it.
I don't want to be pinned everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So I should have played a little further back, made him have, maybe he can't alpha strike me turn 1, you know? That's another game, right? He had no, like he didn't have any pluses to dispel, but I did not get Blizzard off. I cast it every turn. My Web Swan Shaman lasted till the end of the game. Cast Blizzard every single turn. Didn't get it once.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be like that. Sometimes
I feel like 70% of the time it's just a nothing burger.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like nothing. Sometimes again,
or you kill yourself,
or But I'm saying is like. We talk about this like we talk about this all the time. The Blizzard is probably one of the things we talk about the most. And I honestly like I think the best version of Blizzard is like 2D. It's like easier to cast and it's 2d6 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
But like because it just feels terrible to be like, oh, here's Karazai, you know, a 500 point model.
Yeah.
With no wards. He's got 16 wounds. Right? 16 wounds.
Yeah, I think so.
16 wounds. On average with Blizzard, you're doing 14.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It feels bad when a Web Spinner Shaman
gets rid of 70-point unit.
Army.
Yeah, 70-point unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably, you shouldn't. If you have a unit that is 1/4 your army, you should find a way to give it a ward or protection because it's going to get hit by something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, Praetors are dirty though. The Praetor rules are so good. But yeah, so ultimately the game was good. It was definitely a winnable game for me. That was I didn't, not that Noah played very well. But personally for me, I lost that game. You know what I mean?
It was definitely possible, and by choices that you made, you ensured your loss.
Yeah, the other loss that I got, like the one against Matt with the Swamp Donkey, that was that just came down to like how the dice shook out. I did everything I could. Yep. I think I played very well. It's dice game. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, you know.
Yep. And he's also a very good player.
And he's also super good. Yeah, 100%. We're going shot for shot. Yep. Noah, I almost tabled. And Noah's very, very good, but that's just how Gargants play. You know what I mean? Like I have recursion, he doesn't, you know? I tabled him. Or I almost tabled him. And I was so far behind on points because I didn't understand how Gargants holding points worked and Kragnos holding points worked. And a lot of my battle tactics are like, I take a point back from you. And it's like, I count as 55 models on this point. And I'm like, Right.
He was also Taker tribe, right?
He was he was Taker.
I think you said that.
I think he was.
Because they get +5 to all their Kraken eaters.
Oh, I know.
No.
He was Smasher tribe.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I don't know what that does, but he smashed. I can tell you that.
He did do the smash.
As a man that was smashed thoroughly, he smashes. But good game, Noah. Good win. Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle. Your third game.
Third game was a head scratcher because again we're on Meltwater, which is like
Meltwater,
the biggest brain game of my life. I was against Night Haunt. It was the Scarlet one.
Scarlet Doom.
Blade
Geists.
Yep. I played against a guy named Brian. It was like we had a lot of like good like table talk conversations, you know what I mean, which was awesome. He's also like a person who owns like every army, so like there was a lot of like both of us checking like our rules, you know what I mean, so we took too long basically. because we were talking to each other, because we were looking up rules. There was some like disagreement on how the meltwater system worked and like how owning objectives worked. So like,
How, Kyle? It seems like such a simple system for a
I
game.
know, crazy, wow,
Yeah.
insane.
It's
So like
almost
we,
like the game is like that specific mission is way too complicated.
I know. So we and there's a reason most tournaments don't have that in their pack. Crazy. But yeah, so like we had to have two different conversations about how this worked, basically, which was crazy. Like it's annoying that the mission is like that. You know what I mean? Um, that was the game. Like that was like there was a lot of like ebb and flow. The ghosts died much quicker than I was expecting.
They have one wound.
Yeah, I shot them a lot and they just died. That was the game where he dropped 20 of them within 9 inches of my dog. So I shot them, killed like 10 of them, and then they charged, and then I overwatched him, killed more. And like,
I'm killing those
like,
ghosts.
Yeah, and like we're at that point. I think like the ghost killed one potentially. I think they killed one unit, and then I had like one unit that was just like there, like ready to shoot them again. Like, you know what I mean? Like point blank, ready to shoot. And that was basically where we had to end because of time. And at that point in time, he had removed all of his objectives. So he physically only had one objective he could score on, and I was sitting on it. And I still had all of them basically open to score because I kind of like I've played this before, and I was like, I know how to not run out of them. So that was my goal, was to just try to like hop from objective to objective and take them. So he was touching my backline, but I had the potential to score, and I had a unit of dragons that were still running around. So like, at the end of the game, we were basically like, hey, let's just tie. You know what I mean? Like, it's close. Like, you could probably potentially table me if you chase me around, but it's going to be 2 turns of like you not scoring any primary, me trying to score as much primary as I can, and you trying to like kill my units. I can do that. You know what I mean? It's going to be close.
It's very up in the air. Like it was
It's
a very like undetermined game. So
yeah. So it was a lot of like, hey, listen, we both have 2 losses at this point. This game doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I would love to play this game. Like, this is like a great game if we were able to play it out, because like it's one of those games where the last 2 turns are so intense, where it's like you have to think, you know what I mean? Each like, it becomes a game of like, hey, can you think with the pieces that are left? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I do enjoy those kind of games. I think Age of Sigmar has like a lot of fun with that. I think war games in general have a lot of fun with that, where it's like you've both traded blows, you're both down pieces. How do you play with the pieces that you have?
Yeah. I'm so much better on turn 3, 4, and 5 than I am on 1 and 2. Like it's my favorite part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first time I think I've ever played Night Haunt before. It was cool. I definitely liked playing against the ghosts because they just look so cool.
They're so cool.
All of that.
The models are so sick.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally play Night Haunt if I didn't like already have a full kits army and I don't want to just drop a bazillion dollars on ghosts.
I know. Yeah, I don't know if they're expensive to collect or not, but I feel like they are. They look like an army that would be expensive.
Yeah, because it's all like multiple units of like 10 or 20. You know, It's not like one big model. It's like, oh, like here's a 120 or 150 point unit of 10 dudes. You know.
Yeah, and we were going into lunch, and the TO made a speech at the beginning of the game, or beginning of the day, basically saying like, "Hey, I'm cool with you guys playing it out." Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, okay, we'll just play it out." And then like the TO came was like, "I need the scores now," and I was like, well, "Didn't you say we could play it out?" And he's like, "No, I need them now." It's like, okay, cool. And that was kind of like push the game into, hey, let's talk about it, because we're not gonna come to a consensus about this.
Yeah, here at the Play It Out podcast, we don't
here
like
at the
to
Play It
talk
Out
about
podcast.
anything.
We would prefer to play it out.
Yeah,
exactly. Because the game's crazy. Listen, the game has a lot of dice mechanics in it, and any one thing could stop you from doing another thing. You know what I mean? So, we just decided to call it a tie, shake hands, and get lunch. And then that leads us into the last game that we played.
Last games.
Mm-hmm.
So my last game, I played a guy named John. He was playing Soulblight Gravelords. John was super chill. At this point, again, we both have 2 losses. We're kind of just like, we're vibing on like middle bottom tables. You know what I mean? Like in that like 20, there's like a 60%. We're on like table like 32. So it's like we're right in the middle of the pack. We're just kind of vibing. I remember like he was like heavy on the summons. He had like 2 like massive blocks of Graveguard. He had Manfred. He had, which was an awesome conversion. He had a knight, like a Knight Draconis, that he had converted for Manfred, and it was so sick looking. If I have a picture, I'll give it to you to put in the podcast. If not, just imagine with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But the what's it called? He was like, it was a super chill game. He had a very unfortunate. He charged Manfred turn 1. He had turn 1 because I had less drops.
Mm-hmm.
He had charged Manfred into one of my Boingrot Bounder squads. Manfred didn't bounce. He killed 4 of them, so there
Mm-hmm.
was 1 left who survived, and then he insane bravery, so he was there. The guy was he was anticipating Manfred being able to teleport out, but he can't teleport if he is in combat. So, um, it got very dicey because basically that one squig stayed, then retreated after everything else got 3 inches away, and then basically I
Mm-hmm.
charged it a Manfred my turn 1 and just ate him.
Yeah.
So after that, like Manfred doesn't come back. Like everything else in his army comes back. Manfred doesn't come back. So that was a big blow. And then it was basically just having Trogs weather like waves and waves of Graveguard, which they're actually
Yeah.
pretty good at doing because Graveguard only have like -1 rend.
Yep.
And Trogs have, I can pretty consistently and easily give a Trog unit +2 to save. So,
Yeah.
they
And they
like
have a 5. I forget if Graveguard's 2 damage a pop.
1.
I think so.
I think it's like if you roll like a 6, it's 2 damage. Like there's a way to give them 2 damage. I can't remember if it's like a dice roll or like you cast a spell on them and then it goes from 1 to 2 damage.
But your guys have how many wounds?
4 each.
4 each, and you have a 5 up board.
5 up board. I heal at the beginning of the turn, both mine and his. Like they just kind of like they bounced pretty hard on the Trogs.
Yep.
And then I would just kind of like we basically got stuck in the soup, which is exactly what I want to do. Like we got stuck on an objective. I just because he's bouncing off me and I'm just like picking up like gobs of Graveguard. Like I inevitably just ate it. At the end of the day, the end score was 28-21, so I was able to max. And he was super chill. John was super chill. Wish nothing but good things for him. How about you, Kai? How'd you end?
My end, I had a guy named Ryan Pruitt. He told me this was his first army, and he's been playing the game for like 2 months. So he's come over from 40K, and I was like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. Like, so glad you're joining. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. He was running Marathi and the Bow Snakes.
Daughters of Cain. Daughters of Cain.
Yeah, Daughters of Cain. He had Marathi. He had a unit of like, I don't know. It was a big, thick unit of bow snakes. So we both want to do the same thing. We both want to deep strike because he had some like winged things in the sky, and then he wants to teleport Marathi around, and he wants to shoot stuff, and that's basically what I want to do too. So we set up, and like this is the point now where I'm like slowly learning about how to deploy my army and like how I need to use those options. The problem with Stormcast in my brain is it gives you a lot of options and you have to now take those options and use them effectively. So I ended up like, instead of keeping things in the sky like I was previously, knowing that he wants to like drop behind me and do a bunch of stuff, I deployed everything like on the line and like spread out. Like made sure I was like, is there anything that brings it in less than 9 inches? And he was like, no. I was like, all right, sick. So basically I made sure that I was like 18 inches from all of my other units so that there was no way that he could put anything near any of my stuff. And then the turn that basically kind of, or not, the setup that sort of decided it was his bows reach out to 24, mine reach out to 30. And we both set up in like the woods, looking like at the line at each other. When we set up the terrain, there was very much a moment where like we both like there was obscuring terrain and we both looked at each other and said, nah, let's tilt that so like our starting shooters can see. So it was very much like a
Free
night
shooting
on,
lanes. Yeah.
yeah, a night on night like Lance charge. You know what I mean? Of like shooting. And uh he I think he got the first turn. He got the first turn and he shot my dragons, which were in range. He didn't want to come out of the woods because he wanted the +1 to save from the woods, right? So he shot my dragons, pinked some wounds off them, but my dragons were within an objective and they had a 6-up ward, so they were fine. Next turn, I thunderbolt volley because I'm in range, so I don't have to move. Thunderbolt volley his shooters, shoot him again, and
They got shot.
they got shot. I shot them with everything I had. I think I shot them with all like my 2 units of long strikes and my hero that can shoot because they all have 30-inch range. And that pretty much like made it super small. And then my dragons went up to take the mid objective. They got a dirty charge off and basically finished them off. Um, then that was kind of like me taking the mid board. And then his Marathi spent the first 2 turns like chasing down a Vindictor unit that was off the side, just kind of causing him problems in my back line that I dropped back there to get my secondary, right? That was kind of my goal, was to like send the Vindictors in and then kind of like have them just be annoying and like be something that they have to send something to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up sending Marathi, which was perfect for me because that means Marathi wasn't messing around in my midpoint, and I had another unit of Vindictors. There was only 3 objectives. I forget the name of it, but it was like the very simple one where like a command point potentially could cost two.
Yeah, it's lines of communication.
Lines of communication, yeah. So I basically held the midpoint and I held my left objective, and I was holding 1, 2, and more, and then Marathi was on the side, and then through different means, I was able to plink off wounds off Marathi. So at the end, I think at the end of turn 3, she only had 3 wounds left. I did 3 wounds at some point in time, and Marathi died. And basically, that was the end of the game, more or less.
Yeah, like he doesn't have any hammers left. You basically have all of yours.
Yeah, so everything else shot everything else, and then we were good to go. You
Nice.
know what I mean? So it was a win. It kind of felt a little bad because it was like we have very like similar armies in the sense that like we both want to do the shooting, and my shooting just kind of did it. You know what I mean? I got to shoot and he really didn't. You know what I mean? So,
You shot him before he shot you.
exactly. I shot like we both turned the corner. You know,
Yeah.
in a first person shooter, and I shot first. You know what I mean?
Han Solo always shoots first.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was good. We did it. It was a good game. We had like a good time. I kind of felt a little bad because it's like he was newer, you know what I mean? But it was a good.
It's a tournament, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a good learning experience for everyone involved. You know what I mean? So I learned a little bit more how to like set up and see. That was my first time ever playing a Daughters of Cain, and I think he learned a little bit more about like how to allocate like Marathi into like a situation that matters. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I can tell you that like what you just said is like my biggest takeaway from this tournament is like I don't think like my game skill isn't lacking in like my piloting ability. It's just in game knowledge. Like I like every army I played this weekend I've never played before, and it was like I feel like, and not that I'm not saying I'm like the best pilot ever, but like I find that my frequent issue isn't that I'm like misplaying my pieces. It's like I don't understand how the other I can't look across the table and be like, this is what that does. You know, like it's like it like, and that is a skill in this game. Understanding like not necessarily everything in the other people's book, but understanding like the teeth of the army and understanding like the mechanics of the army is like, or not even, because the teeth are kind of easy to pick out because they also show them to you, but it's like it's the subtle things where it's like, oh, this buffs this, which lets this happen. Like, oh, like the weak point is the second thing, you know, like if I hit that, then there's no connection. Like, or, you know, is what it is. But like, I think that you got to get punched in the face, you know, and I was happy to get punched in the face by the people I got punched in the face, you know.
True.
Bye.
And speaking of like lessons learned, that's basically like you would say the biggest lesson that you learned?
Yeah, 100%. It is
Is
like it's just game knowledge. Like,
yeah,
uh,
understanding more about what those armies do specifically.
agreed. Like now, like I know how Sons of Behemoth work now. I knew how Granite Blades worked before.
Hmm.
But like I never played Nighthaunt. I played Gravelords before, but the what's it called? Like Sons of Behemoth were kind of my like skeleton in the closet for a while because I'm like, oh, they can just like my list doesn't have terribly high damage output. It
Hmm.
has like good staying power. And I'm like, but nothing in this game really has good staying power. So it's like I like against Iron Jaws, against Sons of Behemoth, I'm like, I don't know if I live through that, you know?
Yeah.
And like I basically was like, oh, I can. Like, and it's not because I'm just gonna stand here and take it, it's because I come back. You
Hmm.
know, and they don't. So it's like when we trade and I do 20 damage to him and he does 20 damage to me, I can bring back 10 wounds. He
Yeah.
can't, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. The just that overall like game knowledge. I don't think there's as much in AOS as there is in 40K,
Yeah.
but there's definitely more conversations about stuff in 40K. You know what I mean? Like there's more people talking about like what's currently in the top 10 of like all of the lists, right? So like you get more just ambient, oh, I know what that does.
Yeah.
Or like and there I feel like there's a lot more in Age of Sigmar where someone can take something that's kind of like slept on and just absolutely crush with it in
Hmm.
a especially in like a 4 or 5 game tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
So it's
if people have never played it before and they don't know how it works, like,
mm-hmm.
you know, you have a clear advantage against somebody that's
Yeah.
playing Iron Jaws, where it's like, I know exactly what you do, you know?
Yep. Yeah. 100%. The biggest lessons that I learned definitely were deployment. Like the first game was decided on deployment. Like it I learned more about threat ranges and how to screen flying units. That was something that I've like not really had experience with.
Mm,
So not letting flyers just get in my backline and touch me. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I've been charged
Um.
by crypt horrors or crypt flayers, and those things are terrifying. They get wherever they want to go, you
Oh
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
they fly.
They fly and they hit. Yeah.
Oh damn, nice. Yeah. The other thing that I learned was like a little more target priority. Again, it comes down to understanding like you said, like how their list wants to function and what is eatable. Like I look at the skull crushers, I'm like, that's gonna be in my face, like immediately. So what I did was I shot them and then realized that's not an option.
No.
Like I
Yeah.
can't do that. You know what I
It's not,
mean?
it's like your value is like just not getting through.
Yeah. I gotta shoot a soft target and those bloodletters are coming. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just pump as much damage into them and eat them. Um yeah, that was now that I'm remembering it, the dragon popped off twice. He popped off once against the bloodletters. I think he dealt like 10 mortal wounds into the bloodletters, and then I think he dealt 12 into a bloodthirster.
Those are some angry dragons.
They they got accurate with their fire somehow.
Nice.
The Yeah, and then like I feel like towards my last game, I was like, okay, I kind of understand what I want to do deployment wise. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
understand what his like big threat would be if he gets in my line, and I'm gonna try to like, you know, give that a reason to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Um, I'm trying to think of like other things, but I think that's basically it because I feel like I'm a shooting army, especially with that list, and target priority is number one, and
Hmm.
understanding threat ranges and how they can come and touch me is number two.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that's a big that's your like the kryptonite, you know,
Yeah.
is, and I think that like it's again this like ultimately this tournament like we didn't come out positive, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I had a really good time because I learned a lot, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That I got to
I
hang with my boy.
My boy, yeah, we got to spend a lot of quality time
Oh
together with
yeah.
the drive in the hotel and the drive
Hmm.
again.
Yeah.
Um,
I would do it again.
oh, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. We're going to Summer Slaughter,
Hell
guaranteed.
yeah.
Yeah, not as far, but it's gonna be a fun time.
Oh yeah.
The like I always say, I want to like when I'm playing these games, I want two things to happen. Either I want to lose and I want to learn. You know what I mean? Like, and I will lose and learn all day, every day, or I want to win. You know what I mean? So like, if I lose incredibly, you know what I mean? Or if it's close, like I just want to come away from that game and be like, these are the things I learned from it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So whether about their units or about a tactic that I could potentially be using more understanding the options of like the dogs. The dogs like
They're
it's
great. They're
there
good,
are only
especially in a
four
shooting
wounds.
army. Yeah.
Yeah, there are only four wounds, but they can run and score you a battle tactic, or they can run and like play defense from anyone who wants to show up from reserve. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Makes them make a choice. Um, is there anything that you do to your list to change it at all?
I definitely had I had my fever dream of a list after I got hit with Grin and Blades, because I was
Uh
like, the
huh.
fact that I can't hit you is infuriating to me.
I don't know
But
how many times I feel like you, like, not actually, but you would just randomly like message me and be like, "I gotta deal with these blades.
I
How do I
gotta
deal
figure
with
out
these
how
blades?"
it's literally one sub faction in the entire
Yeah,
game. And I'm just like,
yeah,
I need to change my entire list so I have something to deal with that. And I
yeah.
was like, honestly, I don't with the models that I have, I think that's the best list that I have in the chamber,
That makes sense.
is that I would run that again,
That is
that
basically every model you have to. You don't have a massive collection.
I got two more. I got two more Ragnaroks. I got 15 more. Whatever it's called,
Spider Riders.
Spider Riders. I
Yeah.
got some Squig Hoppers. I got some. I got a couple more Boingrots. I got a box of Squig Herd, bro. I
Uh-huh.
got.
Sure.
I'm drowning. I got Trug. I'm
I got
drowning in
Shrug.
gits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by
Uh,
drowning, I mean I probably have 2,500 points worth of gits. By
yeah.
drowning.
Um for me, I don't know. I kind of like the list. Again, if I had fulminators or tempestors or someone that I could like actually have like much more of a hammer than a utility piece,
Yeah.
I would put them in. What I have is storm drakes, and there were two other
And in excess of them.
in excess of them. Uh, there were two other Stormcast players, and both of them were running the special dragon formation, which was I was looking at them in envy the entire time because I was like, "That's amazing! I would love to do that." Sometime.
You're definitely going to do that at some point.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I have a little bit of hobby time before I can catch up with that because I think I only have four models actually like built and painted, so I'd have to like do like four more. Which is like I have so much stuff that I want to do hobby wise.
Yeah, you have three other potential armies on the burner.
Oh, I know. 100%. 100%. 3D printer has been going burr. I went on another work trip, so I've been out of the game. This is why like it's taken so long to get another podcast up, but 3D printer's been going burr ever since I got home. So we got some Gargants and we got some Stegodons coming, and I'm excited to paint and play both those. So we'll see what happens with the fourth with the dragons and whatnot. But yeah, there's I not necessarily an improvement, but I would lean into Storm. I would lean into like the dragon lists. Take that subfaction, or just like lean back into Gardas and like play my redeemers. Listen, I'm gonna lose anyway. I'm gonna win one game out of a tournament. I might as well play the things I like to play, which is just a shit ton of redeemers. You know what I mean?
I do think that they need to do something with Redeemer spam. People have so many Vindictors. They put them in every box.
Yeah, that's the problem. Well, they don't want to give you a reason to play those guys. They want to give you a reason to play the things they want to sell you.
It's true.
But yeah, they're also just battle line. You know what I mean? Like point at another army that is like bare bones battle line. That's like, oh, that's the corner piece of the army. You know what I mean? So
It's true. And they're 110 points.
they're 110 points. I understand. I just wish they were 220 points, and they came with 10 models, and then I could double reinforce them to have 30 models.
Yeah.
And have 60 wounds of a natural 3-up save. Like that's my dream. That's my dream.
They get the Ard Boys treatment.
They get the Ard Boys treatment. You know what I mean? So, let me pull up the top 3 placings real quick, unless you have them already up. Actually, I have them up. The first place is Chai Tozala, and he went Blades of Corn, and he won all 5 of his games. I guess technically 6. Looks like he played on the they played on the last day on Sunday. Yeah, so he won all 6 of those games.
Good for Chai. Good for Chai.
Good for Chai.
Grats to Chai. To Chai.
View list. I think we looked at this list at one point in time.
Oh, we definitely did. We definitely did.
Yeah, Skullfiend Tribe, Slaughter of Sorcery,
Skull Blood. Yep.
It's all the Skull Bloods. The main meat of the army was
Scarbrand.
What's it called?
Bloodletter, Unfettered Fury.
Yeah, Bloodthirster, Scarbrand, a bunch of Skull Reapers. Yeah, 2 units of 10 Skull Reapers and some Blood Reavers, and that was about it. Yeah. So your classic
I'm gonna
Blitz-Corn army
kill
is
you.
bouncing around. Second was Mike Ackaby with the Scarlet Doom list from Night Haunt. So
Night Haunt. We
there it
talked
is.
about it.
There's that battle scroll coming into effect.
We
I know we
both
talked
fought
about
a Scarlet Doom list.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a couple of them.
Yeah, there was
I
like
don't know.
I did. So I'm crazy. I did before the tournament. I went through every single list, found out like what the list, not like what was in each list, but like I
Uh-huh.
looked up like the faction and sub faction and did like a tally, and it was
Yep.
like the most common one was OBR, like for the faction,
Uh-huh.
but for faction slash sub faction was like there were like 7 people running Scarlet Doom Night Haunt.
Yeah. Yeah. New hotness.
New
They
hotness.
had
Blade Geists are hot now.
Yep. They had 2 units of 20 Blade Geist Revenants.
Can fight in 2 ranks.
Yep. You get the it's fun when you get like rules like that, which like lets you play.
They let you
slightly
play with your
differently.
toys.
Just let me play with my toys, GW. You know what I mean? So that's fun. Good for them. And the last one was, or the third place was Walter Brock with an OCR Bone Reapers, Mortis Praetorians.
that do be the hotness. That
Yeah.
is the one that I was terrified of facing. Like more so than the I just because I've never done it. I've never fought OBR, and it terrifies me to fight them. I want to play Kyle, like our like local game store owner. I want him to play me in his OBR because I need to feel bad. I need to feel it. You know, I want to get punched.
Yeah. What is so you had a unit of Mortis Guard that was 460 points.
Those are like you can shift wounds onto them.
Okay.
They also hit.
Yeah. I must be reading the list wrong because I have like Fellbats 1, Fellbats 2, and Graveguard, and it's like 630 points for each of them, which is not correct. So I don't know.
Maybe they're like those are soul like units.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have the list up. It's just what BCP is showing me.
Interesting.
So, yeah. If you're curious, take a look at it.
I will.
Yeah. I think I know we reviewed as much as we could on the way down, but I still don't really understand what
OBR
the Bony
does.
Boys do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
they do it, whatever it is, they do it well.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'll about wrap us up. That was our Cherokee Open and our first like GT that we went to. You know what I mean? Not the biggest in the world at only like 69 people, but it was still like a great learning experience for both of us. A great time to like hang out, just hang out with the boys and roll some dice. You know what I mean?
It was super fun.
It was a good time. I'm looking forward to going to a couple more of those. Whether it like I know we're going to Summer Slaughter.
Definitely Summer Slaughter, potentially ACO.
Potentially ACO, maybe Nova. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Well, I appreciate you hanging out, and we'll keep talking, and you guys keep watching. But thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments what you guys want us to talk about. You know, I'd love to do a little section where we answer questions, or just
yeah, of course. Yeah, we're definitely like gonna be talking. Like Adepticon is this week. So who knows? They might reveal something crazy.
Something crazy that we don't know about that was crazy. That has to do with rats.
I've never heard of I've never seen any leaked pictures or anything like this. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Of a big German word on a book.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that next podcast. Hopefully next weekend we'll break down Adepticon and then like lead into our fourth predictions. Because like I swear to God, that's all we've been talking about for the past like month. Is just like, I want these things. These are the things that I want to see. So we'll lean into it. But thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you now.
See ya.